hand should be using pot or
The pot.
auto-tune.
Lindsey's going to do some time now, huh?
Yeah, 90
Lindsey
days.
Lohan, if you don't know, ladies and gentlemen, Brian says, where'd you read this off of?
I
CNN?
watched it live on CBS. Live, they put it on video, live courtroom.
She's going to do 90 days in jail.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
She has to turn herself in 2 weeks unless she suicides, but she still has to wear the bracelet, so she can't drink every day. And they made it like a big deal. Like, we want to switch to a blood thing instead of the scram. And the reason why she wants to do that, because if you drink alcohol at midnight, like by 4 a.m., it's not in your blood anymore, and that's why Lindsey wants to do that.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So it's so funny that, and the thing that really got to me was where the judge heard Lindsey crying and stuff, and the judge finally goes, "All right, you lied here, you lied here, you lied here, you lied here. Next case, you lied here, you lied here." Like, it went through like 4 cases of 7.
I don't know if locking someone up in jail is like the best way to deal with this, but this should all be a bright example to people, a prominent example to people, how you shouldn't make your fucking kids famous. How many kids have to become incredibly fucked up from being famous child actors before we look at it and go, this is nuts. There's no way you should be doing that to a child. There's no way you should be. Developing as a human being, getting your shit together, getting your ego together is hard enough as it is. But to have that developing and getting your shit together and then mix it with fame?
Dude, can you imagine 10 years from now, Will Smith's kid's going to jump on your back and slice her necks?
Dude, no, he's probably just going to be sad. Or who knows, man? Will is a really brilliant guy. He's a very smart guy. He might figure out a way to raise his kid correctly through this, but what an incredible fucking chore, and what an incredible responsibility, and the amount of pressure you put on the kid, because kids, they can get spoiled so easy. Their perspective can get fucked up so quickly. They haven't really developed character. And to have a kid really be in a position where he never really has to overcome the same adversity that the rest of us have, he just doesn't have the opportunity to develop the character that the rest of us are going to have. The regular people that have to go through life and make their way as an adult and evolve as an adult and be an adult without money, where you're in a situation where you're like, wow, I got to figure out a way to get through this, and to not have any fame whatsoever, have to get by on your personality instead of get by on the fact that you're famous when you were 6.
I heard that the first 8 years of your life, you learn 88% of what makes you who you are today. Like the things from walking all the way to how you react to certain things, and the rest is what you have to deal with, like your RAM almost.
Right. Yeah, I've read some stuff about it up to 2 years old. I didn't read up to 8, but it makes sense. I mean, a lot of who you are as a human being is based on what kind of input you got when your mind was developing. It only makes sense. Your mind is going to prepare for a certain world. They say that babies born into really high stress, violent families where there's a lot of shouting and yelling, and too many people. Like if you're in a really bad neighborhood, and too many people in your house, and there's a lot of stress all the time. Babies born literally are wired different than babies that are born into calm households. And babies that are born into calm households, like the less stress you have, the more chilled out the baby can be. But if you have like a really, really tense mom, that kid's going to come out just ready to snap. That kid's going to come out recognizing danger. I had this long talk on a plane with Michael Irvin. Michael Irvin was on a plane to Australia where we were all going to the UFC. He was going there to do some football thing with Russell Crowe. And I had met him because I did Best Damn Sports Show, period, and he was on it. And he's a real cool guy, man, and very down-to-earth, normal dude. And so he and I were talking, and we're just talking about kids getting involved in martial arts and kids getting involved in sports. And he was talking about, like, what he was like when he was young, that, he's trying to, like, teach kids, about controlling themselves, teach kids about keeping their shit together. And this was right after that dude that, I don't remember the football player, but he was chasing after his girlfriend. He jumped in the back of her truck and he fell out and died. Remember that? Mm-hmm. I don't remember the guy's name. Yeah. He was talking about that guy that was not thinking. He was just reacting. Like, you don't do shit like that when you're thinking. But these guys aren't thinking. They just react. And he's trying to teach them how to, like, put some steps in there to, like, consider things before you act and recognize that there's a reason why you're so quick to behave like that. And that these people, these reckless type people, are the ones who are always involved in, like, really strong competitive athletics, like fighting and football and shit like that. It's because they're so much more quick to react. They're so much more explosive. That a lot of it is just stress-based. I mean, dude, so many fighters are born from shitty households. So many.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a prerequisite. There's guys from strong families that still are great fighters because they just accept that, they just love the challenge. Like George St. Pierre is a perfect example of that. Very close with his dad. But a lot of guys come from fucking broken homes, man. And there's something in that. There's something in that. The fury is just a little more intense from a dude who grows up without a dad or a dude who grows up in like a real shitty situation, It's fucking crazy, man, when you really stop and think about it. It's crazy that anybody would want their kid to be famous. The Lindsey Lohan thing, this should be the last straw.
Yeah, well, there should be some kind of laws about it, definitely. But I think most of the people that have their kids, it's because they're broken dreams and they're using their kids, to.
Do you think that's it, or is just a lack of awareness? Their lack of real consideration. You see, nobody thinks it's an offensive thing. Like, if you tell them, oh, my daughter's acting, she's in a commercial, they go, wow, good for you. Nobody ever goes, wow, what are you doing? Like, why are you putting your kid on TV? Nobody ever says that. Nobody ever says it like, whoa, you're gonna fuck your kid up. You're gonna get your kid famous. You know what the odds are? If you got your kid famous, what are the odds your kid's gonna grow up and be a mess? It's like 90%. Why would you ever? I mean, yeah, there's a few that get through it and they're okay. The Jodie Fosters of the world that seem to be adjusted, but they're fucking rare, dude.